there's one thing that I learned throughout bodybuilding is that you can't just be meticulous with your training, but you have to be meticulous with your nutrition as well. So whether you're trying to get shredded, you're trying to get bigger, or you're trying to increase your performance, if you don't keep track of what you are eating, how are you going to know what you are doing is actually improving your performance or taking away from it? So even though I don't compete in bodybuilding anymore, I still keep track of all of my macros. I keep track of what I eat every day. So that way, when I have certain goals, whether it be for performance or whether it be for physique goals, I'm going to know exactly what I need to change in order to hit those goals. So every morning, I basically start off, put all of my chicken into the air fryer. So typically, I eat 5 meals a day. Usually, it's 2 chicken meals, 1 turkey meal, 1 yogurt meal, and then the last one, I usually eat eggs and a little bit more yogurt. So I'll throw everything into the air fryer right at first, and then while that's going, I usually make my yogurt. So one thing that surprises a lot of people is the amount of yogurt you need to eat in order to hit the amount of protein that you need for your daily amounts. So for yogurt, I actually eat 500 grams of this stuff, and I use a scale every day as well. So for me, there's not any like certain brands of yogurt that I prefer to choose. I'm cheap when it comes to food, so I just use the normal Great Value. But anyway, we're going to weigh this out. Like I said, we are shooting for 500 grams, which honestly equals probably 3/4 of the tub, almost the full tub. Let's see here. Went a little overboard. Let's try this again. 495. Beautiful. Also, for healthy fats, really big on natural peanut butter. So for me, I try to shoot for 16 grams of fat every meal. That equals out to 32 grams of peanut butter. So I'm going to weigh this out here. 23, 32. All right, then after that, got to get my carbs in there. So every morning I have a Honeycrisp apple. It doesn't matter what apple you're eating. These are just my favorite. And usually I always say serving size is 1 apple. Well, if you haven't noticed, this apple is about the size of my hand. I prefer these. So then to me, they all equal about 30 grams of carbs. This is probably technically a little bit more, but in my mind, I just think it's 30 grams of carbs. So I've got my little apple slicer here. Cut this up. All right. And then the last thing, because Greek yogurt's a little bit bitter if you were to eat it just kind of plain like this, I like to add a little bit of artificial sweetener in there, or stevia, just to kind of sweeten it up. So, got a little bit of liquid stevia here. I'm just going to douse this bad boy. And we set. And after that, working on my rice. So for protein, I eat about 6 ounces of chicken per meal. That's about 50 grams of protein. Now I'm going to be shooting for 50 grams of carbs as well. I'm a huge white rice fan, whether it be basmati, jasmine, or honestly my favorite is Botan rice. But I believe right now we've got some basmati rice that's in here. So I'm going to be shooting for 200 grams. Perfect. So, and then the last thing, just to flavor it up even a little bit more, got some nacho cheddar. So this is popcorn seasoning. I don't eat popcorn. However, if you sprinkle this on your rice, it tastes so freaking good. Yeah. Just a little doused. And then the only thing that's missing here would be my healthy fats. Typically, I have guac with each one of my meals. I ran out here at the house However, I always have a backup at the gym. So that's why we're heading next. So I'll just make sure that I add that once we get there. So Gnarly Fit kind of started off as a concept, I don't know, in 2016, I believe it was. I had always been very partial to like certain brands, like clothing brands. When it came to bodybuilding, there were specific ones. There was like this company called Gasp that I really liked. Another company called Young LA that I really liked. And I had to be very picky with like the clothing that I wore. After becoming a bodybuilder and always having kind of some self-image issues, I was always very self-conscious with how clothing fit. So there was a reason why I kind of hung on to these brands, is I really liked the way that these apparel and everything fit. So I decided at that point that I wanted to come out with own brand. And the word gnarly. So I was a big snowboarder my whole life, rode dirt bikes, was always just kind of that extreme sport person. I was aggressive inliner, and an adrenaline junkie. So I was always that person that was kind of doing the extreme no matter what I was doing. So when we were trying to come up with names of what we could do for our brand, the word gnarly just kind of stuck, you know. Say you go to a motocross race and, you know, you're watching guys ride, you know, you see guys hitting the jumps, you know, or getting super high, but then there's always like that one person that kind of takes it to the max. One thing I can think of right now is Deegan, just this past like weekend or two, was hitting this jump that nobody else was hitting and literally launching way further than anybody else. And like that to me, like that's gnarly. That's somebody that's willing to do the extreme and go above and beyond anything else. So that's kind of where the concept of Gnarly Fit started. And then we knew around that point that fitness was such a passion of ours that one day we wanted to be able to not only have like our own brand and our own apparel, but also be able to have our own gym as well, and really be able to build a community of like-minded people, that fitness is super important to them, and we could feed off of each other's energy and be able to, you know, hit those goals that we've been wanting to. So actually, we finally got the opportunity to open our own gym here this past March. The name of the gym is called Gnarly Fit, of course. And we decided at the time as well, we had some new designs that we wanted to work with. So we kind of rebranded our whole clothing line as well. So we launched that at the same time that we opened our gym, which was, I believe, March 18th this year, which is 2023. And things have been going awesome so far. So at this point, we're like just a little bit over 100 members right now, which is great. We've been in operation for about not even 6 months at this point. And then also our apparel is really starting to take off as well. We have what we call the Gnarly Fit crew, which is our team of like sponsored athletes and affiliates that are on our team. We've got professional motocross rider Connor Visker on our team. We have a bikini athlete, Roxy, who's on our team. Another young CrossFit athlete, her name's Elliot. She lives in Georgia. She's on our team. Olivia, another CrossFit athlete from Grand Rapids, on our team. And then honestly, this past weekend, we were actually able to be a part of a huge CrossFit competition, which is down in Three Rivers, called the Pit Teen Throwdown. And we got to be one of the sponsors there. We actually made them replica jerseys for like all of the athletes that were there. We also got to make them leader jerseys and then winner jerseys for both like the JV and the varsity that were competing at that competition. So it's kind of a surreal feeling. One, being able to walk into a building and realize that you own a gym. And then two, being able to walk into this CrossFit competition and seeing a bunch of these athletes wearing our brand, wearing our sunglasses, wearing our jerseys, and then, you know, hearing our name over the announcements. I can't even explain how great of a feeling that is. So morning routine, I wake up at 4 a.m. every day. Definitely a morning person, and the first class starts at 5:30 a.m. So it's not like I have a whole bunch of time before class to get ready, but I also don't like being rushed first thing in the morning. So I wake up at 4 a.m. every day, usually go through emails, go through social media, try to respond to messages and things like that. And of course, try to get in 2 to 3 cups of coffee before I leave to go to class. But also during that time, that's when I'm cooking my meals for the day. I like to have fresh food every day for when I eat. When you eat the same for 13 years in a row, I've come to realize that if it's not cooked on that same day, I don't want to eat it. So, but yeah, that's kind of how I start the morning. And then first thing is class right away at 5:30. I get my training in after that. And then after that, it's basically getting to work on whatever tasks need to be done on the gym or with our clothing on. So I got into bodybuilding. As I was working out at the gym every day, I was constantly looking at all of the muscle and fitness magazines that were at the gym. It was like Muscle and Fitness, Muscular Development. And I remember that there was this teen issue that was in there. And it was a picture of two of these teen athletes that they were jacked, man. They had big arms, big chest, ripped abs. But they had also posted their diet that was in there as well. And both of them were eating like 6 meals a day, and it was a lot of food. And I remember at the time, I was basically starving myself, just trying to stay in the shape that I was between all of the running and all of the lifting weights. And just, I read that article like 10 times just to make sure that I understood exactly what I was reading. And it finally hit me that I'd been doing something wrong. There's a reason these guys look the way they do. And as much as I was ripped at the time, I was only 155 pounds, and I didn't look like they did. So that's when I started to realize that nutrition was going to be a huge part of my fitness path, and that if I really wanted to change what I looked like, I needed to control what I ate. So that's when bodybuilding really kind of started opening its eyes to me, and I became interested in it because these guys looked like Greek gods. And I grew up a majority of my life not being very confident in the way that I looked. I had body dysmorphia and just didn't have that confidence. So bodybuilding looked like an avenue for something for me that I could control what I ate and control what I looked like. But honestly, things really started getting serious when I was about 17 years old. I remember my girlfriend cheated on me with one of my best friends, and I decided to make a change. So started working out pretty much every day.